kindergartners, it's Mrs. Tauscher. Today we are going to get started on our very first art project of the year, and we're going to be learning about shapes. Now, I'm sure that you know what some shapes are. Some shapes are a little bit harder to remember the names of, but we are going to be using shapes to break our body into different parts, different pieces, and using shapes to draw something called a self-portrait. And a self-portrait is a picture of yourself. So I am going to do something that we call a demonstration, which is when I show you exactly how to do the project. And today we're just going to focus on drawing those shapes to make a picture of you. All right, so we were talking about making a self-portrait and how we are going to break our body up into different parts or different shapes in order to make our self. Before we do that, I just want to talk about some different shapes that you are probably familiar with. Most of them are shapes that we can make ourselves with. So I'm sure you all know circle, square, triangle, oval, rectangle. You could do a rectangle that goes up and down. That's also called vertical. And then there are other shapes that are a little bit more difficult to remember the names of. There are shapes like hexagon that has 6 sides. Octagons have 8 sides. They're like a stop sign. Pentagon. I'm kind of making mine upside down. But you get the idea. Some of these more difficult shapes we won't be using for this project. So on your piece of paper, I think you have 4 or 5 pieces of paper at home that I sent home in your school supply kit. On one of those pieces of paper, I want you to just draw a bunch of shapes like this. Any shapes that you can come up with. These are called geometric shapes. There are also shapes that are called organic shapes. They're shapes that you would find more in nature that don't really have names necessarily. Like if you think about a mud puddle, it's not a perfect circle necessarily. A blade of grass is not necessarily a triangle, okay? So things like that you can draw on one side of your paper and then on the other side. So what you would do is flip it over, and on the other side, I'll do it on a new sheet of paper for now. On the other side of your paper, you are going to draw yourself, and you're going to use those shapes to draw yourself. So when I think about a head, a lot of times people that are in kindergarten or kids that are kindergarten age think that our heads are circles. And they are kind of rounded, but they're a little bit more like an oval. So you can start towards the top of your paper and draw an oval, the best that you can. Just really take your time. Don't do it fast, but really take your time. And then we have to draw our neck. So this is how our head connects to the rest of our body, through our neck. And our neck, it's 2 lines that connect to the bottom of your head, and then it's almost like it makes a square. It's just that this is a little rounded right here, okay? And then you can make the chest part of your body, which connects to this line here from the bottom of our square, and it just goes out wider than your head, and then it goes down like this to make a rectangle. And you always want to remember to draw very, very lightly so that you can erase it if you make a mistake. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. So now what I'm going to do is start with the legs. And for the legs, you're going to use a rectangle just like this, but it will be a skinny one. So like that, and like this. But at the top, we kind of go and make, it's almost like an arrow pointing up. Okay? And we do the same thing on this side. And then your knee is kind of rounded. Notice that I'm drawing very lightly. That's called sketching. And then the lower part of your leg is another rectangle. And I make that a little bit skinnier than the top part. And I can also erase that kind of rounded part in there. Like that, okay? And then at the bottom, you can make your feet. So you kind of decide how to make your feet. And you can go in and make shoes if you'd like to. It's up to you how you do that. Okay? And then we have to make our arms. So my arms start right up here at this corner. And again, long skinny rectangles, but we have an elbow. So we can make our arm like that. And then you could draw so that your hand is on your waist. Okay, and maybe you want this arm to be going down a little bit more, so it's just resting at your side. Okay, and there you have your body. So now what you can do is draw your hair, and you have to decide like if you want your hair straight or if you want your hair curly. It just depends on what your hair looks like. My hair is parted off to one side. And my hair, a lot of times, young kids draw their hair coming out of the top of their head like this, which isn't what our hair really looks like. It actually starts inside our head a little ways. So there's my part. And then our hair also comes out this way. And my hair kind of comes down about to my shoulders. And I can erase that part of my head that I no longer need there anymore. And I can erase this part of my head. And then I can put just a few little hairs in there to make it look a little bit more real. Okay? Now, I'm not really going to talk to you a whole lot about your facial features. Facial features would be your eyes, your nose, your mouth. I do want you to add those in, but I just want you to draw them how you think they should look. That's something that we'll learn about a little bit more later in the year. Okay? Now, the last thing that I do want you to do is make your person so they look like they're standing on something. The ground, a floor, it's kind of up to you. Right now it looks like my person is floating because there's no background. So all I have to do is draw a line. And now it looks like my person, myself, is standing either on a floor, or if I want to add trees and the sky, my person would be standing on the ground outside. Okay? That's what I want you to work on for today. I don't want you to add any color or anything else, but I do want you to hold on to this picture. If you have a special place where you're keeping your schoolwork, maybe in a folder on a special table or desk, make sure you save it so that the next time you come to art class, you can work on it again. Have a great day. We'll see you later.